Welcome, brave viewers, to the sinister world of the Dark Terrors Channel. Today we will immerse you in 3 haunting stories inspired by true events that took place in Korea in the 1800s. Get ready to face the terrors of the past and explore the darkness that lurked within the ancient walls. But before starting this scary journey, we ask you to subscribe to our channel, like the video, comment and share with your friends. Don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the next stories that will make you shiver to the core.
Story 1: The Curse of Gumiho. Way back in the 1800s, in the rural countryside of Korea, there was a small village called Myeongdong. Known for its fertile soils and picturesque landscapes, it was a peaceful place, but shrouded in an air of mystery and fear as night fell. At the time, there were rumors of strange disappearances in the village. People disappeared without a trace, animals found dead and disemboweled. Rumors began to circulate of a dark creature that was reaping lives in the middle of the night. The old stories of grandmothers and elders told of a mythological figure feared by all, the Gumiho, a 9-tailed fox capable of transforming itself into a beautiful woman to attract and then devour unsuspecting men. For some, it was just a legend, but for others, it had become a terrifying reality. One day, a young woman named Soo Min came to town. She was extraordinarily beautiful, with magnetic eyes and a charming smile. Despite her strange habits and her arrival coinciding with the start of the disappearances, the villagers were immediately fascinated by her. The village chief's son, Jun-ho, was particularly impressed by Soo Min. Despite his father's warnings and growing rumors, Jun-ho fell madly in love with her. But one night, Jun-ho saw something that froze his blood. He saw Soo Min transform into a 9-tailed fox, the Gumiho. Shocked and frightened, Jun-ho consulted an old village shaman, who told him that the only way to get rid of the Gumiho was to steal the Yowu Gaseul, the magical pearl that possessed its power and immortality. This pearl, according to legend, was kept in the Gumiho's mouth and could only be removed when the creature was asleep. Driven by a desire to save his village and a conflicted love for Soo Min, Jun-ho sneaked into Gumiho's house one night. With her heart pounding and hands shaking, she managed to take the Yowu Gaseul while Soo Min slept. But in doing so, he woke up Gumiho. In the ensuing fight, Jun-ho was badly injured, but escaped with the pearl. He ran to the village river, where he threw the pearl into the stream. It is said that a heartbreaking cry rang out throughout the village, and Soo Min, transformed into the Gumiho, disappeared. From that day on, the disappearances ceased, and life returned to normal in Myeongdong village. However, the legend of the Gumiho remained, a dark and terrible reminder of the past, echoing in the stories told from generation to generation. And Jun-ho, despite having saved the village, spent the rest of his life tormented by love for the beautiful and dangerous Soo Min, the Gumiho he had loved and defeated.
Story 2: The Nightmare of Hyeonginjamun Tower. In the heart of Seoul, Hyeonginjamun Tower dominated the skyline with its commanding presence. Its ancient stones, eroded by time, kept secrets of past ages and laments of forgotten souls. Yet, it was not the glamour of the day that struck fear into men's hearts, but the terror that was unleashed when the sun went down. Dusk marked the beginning of a nightmare. The jailers, brave warriors during the day, were filled with unspeakable anguish when the mantle of night enveloped the tower. One by one, they began to disappear without a trace, except for an icy cold that enveloped their empty rooms. Their bodies were found days later, the petrified expressions on their faces revealing an agony that went beyond death. The locals were terrified. Some whispered the theory of a serial killer, an evil heart that moved in the shadows. This explained the methodical nature of the disappearances and subsequent gruesome discoveries. Others, however, trembled at the thought of a supernatural entity. They believed that the souls of those condemned to the gallows had returned to take revenge on their perpetrators, a revenge that transcended the boundaries of life. Yet, the real terror was only revealed when the last of the jailers, a man named Min Jun, disappeared. He was found alive, but in a state of shock that rendered him mute. Withdrawn into himself, he simply drew the same symbol over and over again, a stylized gallows, with a noose at its base. The symbol of the death they had inflicted. Perhaps Min Jun, tormented by the weight of executions, had become the serial killer everyone suspected. Or else the souls of the condemned had returned to take their revenge, and their final punishment had been forcing Min Jun to live with the knowledge of his crimes, a penalty worse than death. Thus, the nightmare of Hyunginjamun Tower ended, leaving behind an echo of terror that still resounds within its ancient walls today. A perennial reminder of the ghosts of the past who can come back to haunt us when we least expect it.
Story 3. The Secret of the Jeju Grove. At the end of the 19th century, in an isolated village on the island of Jeju in Korea, lived a humble miller named Jin Ho. Life in Jeju was peaceful, but, like any community, it had its own legends and superstitions. One of these concerned the forest adjacent to the village, which the inhabitants avoided with great fear. The wood was believed to be haunted by a dokkaebi, a type of goblin or demon from Korean mythology known for its pranks and deceptions. One evening, the daughter of the village head, Min Ji, mysteriously disappeared. Everyone in the village was worried, and the village head begged Jin Ho to look for Min Ji, as he was known for his fearlessness. Jin Ho agreed and went into the woods, despite rumors of supernatural presences. After hours of searching, she found Min Ji trapped in a small cave, pale and frightened, speaking of a dokkaebi who had dragged her there. Jin Ho carried her back to the village to the applause of the villagers, but Min Ji's story of meeting the dokkaebi haunted the village. From that day on, the strange events multiplied. Eerie noises came from the woods at night. Things disappeared for no reason. The villagers were convinced that the dokkaebi was real and was terrorizing the village. Months later, Jin Ho decided to investigate again, hoping to put an end to this fear. Armed with an old sword and a lantern, he returned to the woods, to the cave where he had found Min Ji. In the cave, he discovered a hidden room full of items stolen from the village. As he investigated, a figure leapt out of the shadows. He was not a dokkaebi, but a dirty and shabby man. He confessed that he was an exile who lived in the woods and that he had used the legend of the dokkaebi to scare the villagers and steal food and goods undetected. Jin Ho's discovery put an end to the terror of the village. The man was captured and executed for his crimes, and peace returned to Jeju. After the man's execution, Jin Ho returned to the woods to retrieve his sword which he had left behind in his haste. He found the sword, but also noticed strange footprints on the ground, too big to be human. A shiver ran down his spine. Maybe the dokkaebi was real after all. Maybe the man in the cave was just a diversion, and the real dokkaebi still stood out there in the woods, laughing at the village he had tricked.
And so, brave viewers, we have reached the end of these dark stories set in 1800s Korea. We hope they sent shivers down your spine and made you reflect on the dark past. We invite you to subscribe to our channel to not miss the next scary stories, like the video, comment and share with your friends. And don't forget to activate the bell to always be updated on new publications that will make you shiver. We greet you from the dark abode of the Dark Terrors Channel. Stay awake, because horror can surprise you even in the folds of time.